2026 Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded, televised, and viewable on Swiftel Channel 19, ITC Channel 168, or the Brookings County YouTube channel. I now call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda, approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved. Troyan.
Motion by Troyan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vanderwall. Kyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Items to be added to the agenda by commission members or staff.
I do not have anything, sir.
Nothing. Invitation for citizens to schedule a time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Seeing nothing. Disclosure of conflicts of interest, relationship to the applicant, or ex parte communication.
I need to recuse myself from Plat 005.
Okay.
I need to remove myself from CU 006.
Okay. Anything else? Sounds good. Approval of agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved, Paulson.
Motion by Paulson. Is there a second? Second. Second by Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will now convene as the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision plans, and amendments thereof to the Brookings County Commission. The commission makes its recommendation based on the adopted comprehensive plan for the fiscal development of the unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policies, all motions are made in the positive. After a motion is moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall in turn give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the commission shall make a recommendation for approval or disapproval based on the testimony and information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward a motion. Agenda item 2026, Plat 004, plat of Lot 14A in Block 1 of Country Club Estates in the southeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of Section 28, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Paulson. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 Plat 004, Tyler Anderson are vacating lots 14 and 15 and combining the two lots into one, into Lot 14A, containing 51,699 square feet. Lots 14 and 15 were originally platted on July 11th, 2007, and the lot exceeds the 20,000 square feet requirement for the Lake Park District. And the plat meets the Brookings County subdivision ordinance and the Lake Park ordinance requirements. This is a proposed plat. The dotted line is where the original two lot lines were, dividing the two, 14 and 15. Here's the proposed plat on the beacon map. The blue line is where the original lot line was, and they've combined that into one lot into 14A. This is the original plat. This is beacon maps with lot 14, lot 15 is shown. And that's all that I have, and I don't believe the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Tim Paulson.
Aye.
Cody Clark.
Aye.
Daryl Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Joinby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
Justin DeGroot.
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to agenda item 2026, Plat 005, plat of Ponto Addition in the southwest one-fourth of Section 7, Township 119, or Township 19 North, should that be 119?
109.
109 North, Range 47W of the 5th Primary in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Paulson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tryon. Richard, would you read staff report?
All right, yes, plat 2026, plat 005, the Ponto Family Revocable Living Trust are platting off 5-acre parcel adjacent to an existing farmstead as allowed in Article 5, General Requirements, Section 5.1503, existing farmstead exemption B, as a special permitted use of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. The 5-acre parcel is for a family member actively engaged in the farming operation, and the plat meets the platting requirements for the 2016 comprehensive plan for the unincorporated areas found on page 24 for the agricultural land use. This is a proposed plat. There's a proposed plat on the beacon map, or on the beacon overlay. This is an existing homestead over there. Here's the beacon map showing the whole quarter. This is the existing farmstead. This is where the 5 acres will go right here. That's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. When the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now close the public hearing portion. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Joinby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Dale Storhaug,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026, plat 006, plat of Lot 15 and Block 1 of Paradise Point Addition in Government Lot 2, Section 22, Township 112 North, Range 47W of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion? Motion by Clark, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kyle Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
2026, plat 006, Lake Dreams LLC has submitted a plat for lots 15 with 26,237 square feet, exceeding the minimum requirement of 20,000 square feet. The preliminary plat was approved on August 7th, 2007, and lot is a non-lakefront lot and currently has an accessory building on it, and originally was part of a 2.27 acre green space in the development. The owners are platting off the area with the accessory building with space for possible future reference. The plat meets the requirements of the Brookings County subdivision ordinance, the Lake Park zoning ordinance, and the 2016 comprehensive plan for the undeveloped Lake Park areas. Oop. Get back to the right report here. This is a proposed plat right here, in the dark areas. Here's the plat, proposed plat on the beacon overlay and beacon map. This is an existing accessory building. There is room right in this area and still meet the setbacks to build a small residence if they would so choose. This is a beacon map. It was originally part of the circle roundabout, went way out to here. Now it's going to come up right in this area right here. That's all I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Neil Troyen,
Aye.
Justin DeGroot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026, plat 007. Plat of lots 1A and 2A of Hafner Knoll Addition and Government Lot 3 in section, in the southeast 1/4 of the southwest 1/4 of section 22, township 112 North, range 47W of the 5th primary meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion? Motion by Clark, is there a second?
Second.
Who had that? Second by DeGroat. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 Plat 007, Lake Dreams LLC has submitted a plat for lots 1A and 2A, meeting the minimum size requirement of 20,000 square feet. The lots were originally platted on April 9th, 2004, and they were vacated on October 11th, 2006. The plat is, they are platting the lots that were there back to the original size, as the lots were non-lakefront lots. And it does meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and the Lake Park zoning ordinance and the 2016 comprehensive plan for the developed lakes on existing land use. Here is the plat showing these two lot 1A and 2A. There's the lots on the beacon map overlay. Here's the beacon map with showing it's all one big parcel. Now they went back to one big parcel, now they go back and make these two lots right here, like they originally were. That's all that I have, and the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant isn't here, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that says for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion and move to the board. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Neil Troyen,
Aye.
Justin DeGroot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, we will now convene as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power to hear requests for variances, conditional uses, and appeals of the non-ministerial decisions of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a 2/3 of the full board membership of the board, 6 votes, is necessary for approval of a variance or an appeal of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a simple majority of those board members present and voting is necessary for approval of a conditional use permit. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve a request before the request can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in a positive. The board, under specific powers granted to it by the state, shall authorize variances from zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner shall not constitute proof of an unnecessary hardship. Agenda item 2026 CU 002. Christopher Jerns has made an application 2026 CU 002 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for conditional use permit, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04, Conditional Use Number 31, Dog Kennel. The property is described as the north 1/2 of the northwest 1/4 of Section 7, Township 112 North, Range 48W, Oak Lake Township, located at 47809 197th Street, Astoria, South Dakota, 57213. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kleinjohn. Is there a second? Second by Kelly Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 CU 002, Christopher Jones has applied for conditional use number 31 for a dog kennel to provide 24/7, 365 a year temporary dog boarding at his residence for up to 20 dogs. The property is on 78 acres with his residence, has a detached garage and a storage building. If approved, he will construct a new 30 by 40 building with a fenced run lot for the boarded dogs to be used as the kennel. The property is located at the intersection of 478th Avenue, which is Brookings County Blacktop Road number 25, and 197th Street, which is Brookings County Blacktop Road number 40. The driveway is on 197th Street, and there's a large yard with adequate space for drop-off, pickup, and parking areas for 6 or 8 cars. The applicant's business plan is attached, and the plans on being open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The zoning office has reviewed the documents and made a site visit to the proposed location. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the White Tri-City Star on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Oak Lake Township Chairman and Clerk, and the Brookings County Highway Department. Here is the applicant's conditional use application. Is there a site plan? The driveway, house off to the right. Straight ahead would be the detached garage, that's detached garage. The dog kennel will be right straight ahead off to the left. The fenced-in area behind it. Here's his business plan, stating the hours, number of dogs, the fenced-in area for inside and outside areas for that, with shade providing on the outside area. Parking space for 6 to 8 cars. Waste will be collected and spread on the ag ground. Daily collection will be stored in garbage cans. And the owner will have will be a drain or a septic system for the wastewater in the building for cleaning and animal waste. And there will not be a bathroom in the facility, and they have emergency contact information. Here's his beacon map showing the site, 197th Street, east and west, 478th, going north and south. Driveway coming in. Here's a proposed building for the kennel. Nice big wide open space. So there's just some pictures looking to the west from the driveway down 197th Street or Brookings County Road number 40. This is looking from the driveway looking towards the east down 197th. Also, looking south towards the yard, driveway, house, outbuilding, proposed location of the kennel right back in this area, nice big yard, turnaround area. So that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would like to come forward and clearly state your name into the mic. Make sure the green light's on.
Becky Jones.
Chris Stearns.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
No, I don't.
Are there any questions for members of the board at this time? Pretty simple. You can hang out there for a minute unless somebody opposes or wants to say something here, but I'll move to the public hearing portion here quick. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? You can go back to your seat. Thank you. Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
All right, first one I'll read in its entirety, and the other conditional uses, if need this evening, I'll read the front page, then just go through, mention the highlighted areas. So, Brookings County Zoning Commission, Zoning Conditional Use Permit 2026 CU 002, an application for a conditional use permit, having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as a Board of Adjustment. A copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Christopher Jones regarding the following real property: the north half of the northwest one-fourth of Section 7, Township 112 North, Range 48 West, Oak Lake Township, located at 47809 197th Street, Astoria, South Dakota, 57213. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on this 5th day of May, 2026. Number one, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that it is empowered to grant such conditional use under the following sections of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural District, Section 4.0104, Conditional Uses, and further finding that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Number two, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds and certifies that the following specific rules governing the conditional use requested have been complied with. None stated. Number three, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following where applicable. A, entrance and exits to the property, proposed structures therein, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow, control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Will use the existing driveway off 197th Street. B, off-street parking and loading areas were required with a particular attention to the items in A above and the economic, noise, glare, or other effects of the conditional use on adjoining properties and properties generally in the district. No on-street parking allowed. C, utilities, refuge, and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. Dumpster service for garbage. Do you use a dumpster service now?
Yes.
Okay. We'll leave that in there then. D, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. None stated. F, signs and, if any, proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony of the properties in the district. 32 square foot sign is allowed and any required safety signs. F, required yards and other open spaces. None stated. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district. Meets the 2016 comprehensive plan met for the agricultural district. H, roads providing access to the property are adequate to meet the transportation demands of the proposed conditional use. The Board of Adjustment may require the applicant to enter in a written contract with any affected township or other governmental unit regarding the upgrading or continued maintenance of any roads used for the conditional use requested prior to the issuance of a conditional use. 197th Street, otherwise known as Brookings County Number 40, meets the transportation demands of the conditional use. I, any required notifications to law enforcement or fire department. None stated. J, any safety inspections. Building permit inspections and any required inspections for a dog kennel. Number 4, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this conditional use permit upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. A, hours of operation to be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. B, maximum number of dogs will be 20. C, fenced-in exercise area inside and outside. Outside area will have a shaded area. D, 6 to 8 car parking area for drop-off and pickup. E, animal waste be picked up daily and temporarily stored in garbage cans and then spread on the farmland using the best management practices. F, septic system for wastewater. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least a majority vote of its full members present, hereby grants the above petitioner a conditional use for the above described real property as follows. Conditional use number 31, for a dog kennel for boarding dogs. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of the facts are followed. So I concur with the findings of the facts.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. Richard, would you then call a vote?
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Joyby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Justin D. Groot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026 CU003. Lindy Dairy by Steve Landman has made an application 2026 CU003 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit. Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04. Conditional uses number 6, Class A, B, and C, concentrated animal feeding operations. The property is described as the northeast one-fourth of Section 32, Township 111 North, Range 48W, and the south half of the southeast one-fourth, excluding the south 680 feet of the east 700 feet, and excluding the north 240 feet of the east 350 feet of Section 29, Township 111 North, Range 48W, Sherman Township, located at 47978 207th Street, White, South Dakota 57276. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second?
Second.
Who had that?
Paulson.
Second by Paulson. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 CU003, Lindy Dairy by Steve Landman, applied for conditional use permit for expansion of their Class A dairy confined animal feeding operation. That was permitted on June 2nd, 2015 by 2015 CU006 for 3,320 head, which is 4,748 animal units of mature dairy cows and 60 heifers and calves for a total of 4,808 animal units. Conditional use 2015 CU006 was approved on July 2nd for the expansion of the north system by adding a sediment pond, parlor addition, and a freestall barn. These additions will not be pursued with the proposed expansion of the south system. The proposed expansion would increase the number of mature dairy cows to 6,000, which is 8,580 animal units at the proposed south system. The existing north system having 1,200 head, which is 1,716 animal units of mature milking cattle, 800 head, which is 1,144 animal units of mature dry dairy cattle, and 30 head, which is 30 animal units of cattle other than mature dairy, for a total of 11,470 animal units. The expansion of the proposed south system would be done in phases. With phase 1 would consist of 2,500 head of dairy cattle, and phase 2 would add 3,500 head 5 years after the completion of phase 1. The engineer's report is included as a separate attachment, and the nutrient management plan shows adequate acres for the increase in animal units. The location of the proposed building is not in Zone A of the wellhead or Zone B. The remainder of the mapped shallow and superficial aquifer not included in Zone A, according to the first occurrence of aquifer materials map in Brookings County. The property is not in the floodplain. And the applicant includes information required as per Article 5, Chapter General Requirements, Chapter 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations, Sections 5.2205, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation Control Requirements Number 10, Minimum Application Information. And the following information was requested and reviewed by the board prior to the issuance of this or a conditional use as permitted as any classification. It's A, applicant's name, B, the legal description, C, number and type of animals, D, the preliminary nutrient management plan, E, the preliminary manure management and operation plan, F, preliminary management plan for fly and odors, G, information on the availability to meet suggested setback and separations distance, H, condition of the animal units by the Board of Adjustment with the general permit from the South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources. I, documentation and notice of public service and water officials. J, information on the soils, shallow aquifer, designated wellhead areas in the 100-year floodplain. documentation to notice whoever maintains or access to the haul roads, township, county, or state, and any other information contained in the application requested by the zoning officer. The zoning office has reviewed the above documents and made a site visit to the proposed location. Public notice were published in the Brookings Register on April 24th and 28th, 2026, and the White Tri-City Star on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the Brookings County Highway Department, the adjoining landowners, the Sherman Township Chairman and Clerk, and the Brookings Dual Rural Water. Here's the conditional use application. This is a beacon map showing the north site, existing dairy in operation. This is a beacon map showing the south site, the beacon map just showing the bare land. This would be access right here to the new south side across the road from the feed alley, driveway going into the feeding bay. This is just some pictures of it, looking west from 480th Avenue towards the west. This is the north end of the proposed site. This is looking from 480th Avenue towards the southwest, towards the area of the northeast quarter. This is looking west down 207th Street from the intersection of 480th Avenue. Good clear vision, County Road. This is looking towards the south, down 480th Avenue from 207th Street, towards the east side of the proposed location. This is where the driveway would be of a proposed entrance to the south system, directly to the south of the north driveway going into the feeding bays and the north and entrance to the barns there. This is looking towards the northeast by the west main entrance to the dairy, towards the northeast. This is looking from the driveway back towards the northwest, towards the feeding buildings and hay storage and back open areas there. This is looking down 207th Street from the west, from the main driveway, or from the feeding driveway. Good clean vision right there. This is looking to the east from the feeding driveway. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant wants to come forward and clearly state your name into the mic.
Steve Landman.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
Nope.
Questions from members of the board at this time? Go back to your seat for a little bit.
Thank you.
Seeing no questions from board at this time, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that is for this? Clearly state your name into the mic, please.
Tom Davis. I would just like to add that I think this is a great site for their expansion. And we own a lot of acres, 4 quarters of land to the south there, or 7 quarters of land. And we're probably going to sign it up for the manure. And there's no residences, for at least 2 miles to the south. So this is a great family to work with. We have a gravel pit to the south of there, 1.25 miles. And we've worked closely with the Lindy Dairy and my family and Sturzinger Construction to keep the dirt or the dust down. That's very important to us and the dairy to control the dust out of this. And so there won't be any dust or anything during the construction. And we already have a contract with a dust company to apply the first week of June, I believe is the date, to keep the dust down. And we've done this for the last 3 years to keep any dust, any health issues for the cows and for the safety of everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Is there anybody else that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, Brookings County Zoning Conditional Use 2026 CU 003, an application for a conditional use permit having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment. A copy of the application being attached here too. Application being made by Lindy Dairy by Steve Landman regarding the following real property: the northeast 1/4 of Section 32, Township 111 North, Range 48 West, and the south half of the southeast 1/4, except the south 680 feet of the east 700 feet, and except the north 240 feet of the east 350 feet of Section 29, Township 111 North, Range 48 West, Sherman Township, located at 47978 207th Street, White, South Dakota. After due notice, a public hearing on the application having been held on this 5th day of May, 2026. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following where applicable. A, entrance and exits to the property, proposed structures thereon with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow, control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Will use the existing entrance and exits for the north system. A new driveway for the south system on 207th Street, which is also is Brookings County Road number 8, which is a Brookings County gravel road. And secondary driveway on 480th Avenue, Sherman Township gravel road for farm machinery if needed. B, off-street parking loading areas were required with particular attention to items in A above and economic noise, glare, or other effects of the conditional use on the adjoining properties or properties generally in the district. B, no on-street parking allowed. C, utilities and refuge and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. Dumpster service for garbage disposal, which they currently use now. D, screening and buffering. This here, I might have a question for them. Plat, number row of trees around the outside perimeter with the assistance of the Brookings County Conservation District for the species of trees, and trees should not interfere with the natural flow of the ventilation. How many rows of trees were you going to plant around the? 3? Okay. Thank you. E, signs if any proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, compatibility, and harmony with properties in the district. Existing signage allowed and any regulatory signs required for livestock production. F, required yards and other open spaces, none stated. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district. 2016 comprehensive plan met for the agricultural district. H, roads providing access are adequate to meet the transportation demands of the conditional use. 207th Street, Brookings County Gravel Road, number 8, meets the conditional use requirements, meets the requirements for the conditional use. J, any required notification to law enforcement or the fire department, none stated. J, any safety inspections required. Any inspections by state officials for livestock protection and any building permit inspections. Number 4, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions as conditional use upon following additional special conditions or safeguards. South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resource State CAFO permit required. B, best management practice for manure to be applied by injection at a minimum depth of 4 to 6 inches. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least a majority vote of its full members present, hereby grants the above petitioner conditional use for the above described real property as follows. Expansion of a Class A confined animal feeding operation, CAFO, that was permitted on June 2nd, 2015 by conditional use 2015 CU 006 to expand to 6,000 head, which is 8,580 animal units of mature dairy cattle at the south system. The existing north system having 1,200 head, which is 1,716 animal units of mature milking dairy cattle, 800 head, which is 1,144 animal units of mature dry dairy cattle, and 30 head, 30 animal units of other cattle other than mature dairy cattle, for a total of 11,470 animal units. And the expansion would be done in phases. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use. If this conditional use is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
I have a question. Sorry. The phase 2 of their plan is 5 years, and the permit's only good for 3. Is that
No, they have 3 years to start the
to start the
expansion.
project? Okay.
Yes, and then they're,
I just wanted to
once they
clarify
start that, after they get phase 1 completed, then they can, if it takes them, that's their projected plan right now, so
Okay.
once it's started, it's up to their discretion as far as the other phase goes when that gets started. So that's their projected plan right now, is within 5 years, so.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or additions to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings and facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Justin D. Groot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026 CU 004. Make sure I'm in the right spot.
Thank you. We'll send you the original copies in the mail in the next day or two. Thank you.
Agenda item 2026 CU 004. Trenton Corps has made an application 2026 CU 004 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit. Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04. Conditional uses number 9, Extended Home Occupation. The property is described as the south one-half of the northeast one-fourth of Section 20, Township 112 North, Range 49W, Argo Township, located at 19935 474th Avenue, White, South Dakota 57276. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 CU 004, Trenton Corps has applied for Chapter 4.01A Agricultural Land District, Section 4.0104, conditional uses number 9 for an home extended occupation to sell firearms from his residence in a designated separate room in his attached garage. The residence is located at 474th Avenue, which is an Argo Township gravel road. He has applied for his federal firearms license and is pending approval when local approval has been determined. His business plan with the hours, the operation, the expected deliveries per week is included in this report. There will be a separate entrance in the attached garage to the designated business area, and there is adequate parking in the front of the garage and driveway area. He's also applied for a conditional use 2026 CU 005 for a conditional use number 28 for a shooting range, which will be heard the same night, to allow his customers to test fire firearms and sight-in scopes. The range would be his and for his customer use only and not open to the public. The board needs to consider, does it meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance, Article 5, for the extended home occupation found on Article 5, page 32. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the White Tri-City Star on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Argo Township Chairman and Clerk. Here is the conditional use application. Here's the business plan showing his hours, deliveries, name of the applicants, him and his brother. Here is the beacon map showing the property. This is where his residence is located, where the business would be located. Shooting range would be along through this driveway in the trees along this north side of the property. Just looking south down 474th from the driveway, looking west into the driveway, adequate parking, parking area over the business area would be in the garage right here. So looking towards the north, on the east side of the garage where the proposed business would be located. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would like to come forward and clearly state your name into the mic.
Trenton Gore?
Do you have anything to add to Richard's staff report?
No, sir.
Are there any questions from members of the board at this time? You can go back to your seat if you want for a minute. Being no questions from the board, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this?
Mr. Chair, we did receive a letter an email from one of the adjoining landowners, Mr. Amos Whiff. It was sent to everyone in your packet. It was received in time, but I'll just read it briefly. Dear members of the board, my name is Amos Whiff, and I'm writing to share my concerns regarding the proposed shooting range and the gun store in our area. Our property is located in close proximity to the proposed site. We live here with our family and little agricultural setup, including poultry and other animals. This is not just a place for a residence for us, but an actively used rural property. The surrounding area is already functioning agricultural environment. There are pasture lands nearby that are used for seasonal cattle grazing from spring until fall, which is also an existing hog operation in close proximity, which is an important part of the local agricultural economy and community. Livestock, especially swine, are known for their highly sensitive to sudden and repeated noises. Regular gunfire can cause stress responses, panic behavior, and potential injury, as well as negatively affect overall productivity. This raises concerns about the compatibility of this type of activity with existing agricultural operations. The operations, in addition, there is recognized wildlife habitat area located near the proposed site. This area supports local wildlife habitat. Consistent gunfire may disrupt animal behavior and movement patterns, affecting the ecological balance of the area. Taken together, this is not an isolated location, but a part of an established agricultural natural ecosystem that includes livestock operations, pasture use, residential living, and wildlife habitat. We respectively ask the board to carefully consider the cumulative impact of the proposal on the surrounding environment, agricultural activities. We have attached a map to help illustrate the proximity of the proposed site to nearby properties, livestock operation, and wildlife areas. Thank you for your time and consideration. Amos Whiff. This is the map that he had referenced. And that's the only correspondence that the zoning office has received.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any, see, it was to the opponents, right? Is there,
Shooting range would be to the south of his residence. This is where Mr. Whiff lives. And this is where the residence is. Shooting range would be right here. Whoop. I'll show you back here on. This is where the shooting range would be. Mr. Whiff lives right up here. This is a, let me pull the beacon map up here, I'll show you. Yeah, this is where the location, this is where the proposed shooting range would be. It's a over a half, 3/4 of a mile to the road to the west. This is where Mr. Whiff lives, right here.
But the guns would be shooting towards the west, right?
Correct.
Correct, okay. Thank you.
This conditional use right here is just for the
This is
the
just,
gun dealership. The next conditional use is for the shooting range. You got to keep that in mind also here. Back to the public hearing then here. Is there anybody else in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion and move back to the board for any additional comments or questions. Seeing no additional comments or questions from members of the board, Richard, would you please read the findings of facts?
yes. Brookings County Zoning Ordinance Conditional Use Permit 2026 CU 004. Application for a conditional use permit have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission. Acting as a Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Trenton Corps regarding the following real property. The south half of the northeast 1/4 of Section 20, Township 112 North, Ridge 49 West, Argo Township, located at 19935 474th Avenue, White, South Dakota, 57276. After due notice of public hearing having been held on the application on this fifth day of May 2026. Number one. Number two. Number three, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory revisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following where applicable. A, entrance and exits to the property, the proposed structures therein, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety, convenience, traffic flow, control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe. We'll use the existing driveway off 474th Avenue, on Argo Township gravel road. B, off-street parking loading areas were required, no on-street parking allowed. C, utilities and refuge and service areas with reference to locations of building compatibility, dumpster service for garbage disposal. Do you use a dumpster service now? Okay, do you burn it? Okay, yep, that would be fine. You're allowed to do that unless the board would require them a dumpster service, but D, screening and buffering with reference to type, none stated. Signs, if any, 32 square foot sign allowed. I didn't, and any regulatory signs or, regulatory signs for gun sales. F, required yards and other open spaces, none stated. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and properties in the district. Comprehensive plan is met for the agricultural districts. H, roads providing access for property are adequate to meet the transportation's demand of the proposed conditional use. 474th Avenue was an Argo Township gravel road. J, any requirements for law enforcement or the fire department, none stated. I, safety inspections, any inspections required for building permits, and any inspections required for firearm sales. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this conditional use permit following additional special conditions or safeguards. Number 1, federal firearms license approval required with a copy of the license to be on file with the County Development Office. Number 2, 2026 CU 005 conditional shooting range approval is contingent upon approval of this conditional use permit. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment by majority vote of the members present to grant the petitioner a conditional use for the above described property as follows. Conditional use number 9, a home extended occupation for firearm and ammunition sales, gunsmith shop, and related firearm repair located in the attached garage with a separate entrance. Hours of operation to be Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., and other hours by appointment, and may be changed by the applicant. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used in 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections from members of the board to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the finding of facts are followed. So I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That being said, Richard, would you call the vote?
Mark Joinby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Justin D. Groot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark, Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026 CU 005. Trenton Corps has made an application 2026 CU 005 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit, Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04, Conditional Uses Number 28, Shooting Ranges. The property is described as the south one-half of the northeast one-fourth of Section 20, Township 112 North, Range 49W, Argo Township, located at 19935 474th Avenue, White, South Dakota, 57276. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second? Second by Cody Clark. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 CU 005, Trenton Corps has applied for agricultural land district use, section 4.01.04, conditional use number 28 for a shooting range to test firearms and sight-in scopes for his own and his customers' use only. It will be located on the north side of the 80 acres he owns north of his residence, located in 474th Avenue, which is an Argo Township gravel road. Conditional use will be contingent upon his approval of conditional use 2026 CU 004 for an extended home business to sell firearms and approval of his federal firearms license. The range would need to meet the requirements of Article 5, General Requirements, Chapter 5.34, Commercial Shooting Ranges following the NRA Range Source Book Guidelines. The range would be for his and his customer use only to test firearms and sight-in scopes and not open to the general public for public shooting. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the White Tri-City Star on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Argo Township Chairman and Clerk. Here is the conditional use application. This is his site plan showing his house right here. This is where the range, shooting range would be, is different yardage of applications here. We're sighting in different targets along the way. Same thing on the beacon map, different settings for the range distance targets. This is a beacon map showing the 80 acres. It would be located, the range would be along this northern portion, this area right here. There'd be a berm along the backside and the berm stop out here at each selected distance he determines. There'd be a berm and backstop according to NRA guidelines that would need to be built to those standards. Just showing the road going to the south again from the driveway, showing driveway into the yard, the road going north, where it's extended business would be located. This would be looking toward the northwest of the house, going through the opening in the trees out to the shooting range beyond the north here. This would be that location where the path, this would be the path going out to the range. This would be looking towards the west, towards the shooting range. Down here at different locations that he would be, this would be looking towards the west from that walkout driveway path right up in here. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would please step forward and clearly state your name into the mic.
Trenton Gore.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, before we get into the deal here, since we already know what's coming, how much do you plan to use this, do you think?
What we're gonna do there is, well, the main thing that we were looking for is the shop. Because we're gonna manufacture and, gunsmith, short-barreled rifles, suppressors, that kind of sort. We were just looking to use it for testing mechanisms, suppressors, and barrels, mainly, is what, and with the ATF involved, they wanted us to get this kosher too.
Gotcha.
Is it something we need? Probably not, but
Something the ATF asked for.
they asked for it. But another question is like, what is the law regarding shooting on my property regardless?
Great question.
So like, even if I don't get this, like, can I still shoot targets?
You can still shoot targets on your property, yes. Just like anybody other landowner or farmer can do that on their property. Just that you can't.
Okay. Yeah, because this wasn't gonna be for public use anyways. Like, I'm not gonna have, or say, a range guy on and have people come in and out during the hours and stuff like that. This is just gonna be testing.
You're not gonna run 3-gun tournaments?
No.
Are there any other questions from members of the board?
So there must be what, between his place and Mr. Whip's?
Yes, it'd be the north 80 of that quarter, correct. So it'd be over 1,320 feet plus between that and Mr. Whiff's property. And there would be, you said you were gonna build a berm around it. You'd have a berm around your shooting range where the table is and a backstop around where the targets are, so,
That's correct. Yeah, because I have children too, so I gotta protect them from it.
right.
Can I ask, how big is the berm?
25 foot tall, and then I got a contact and I'm gonna talk to a consultant about the width. I don't know that answer, but as wide as it has to be.
The other question I have is, we've got a neighbor concern. What are you gonna do to help that neighbor feel comfortable with this?
Berms, and then most of the guns that'll be fired will be suppressed. Well, pretty much 100% of them. And then I know Amos personally, pretty well too.
Any additional questions from members of the board at this time? Go back to your seat for a minute there, if you would. That being said, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this?
Just the same letter that I read previously with the same concerns from Mr. Whiff, the adjoining landowner, so.
Okay. That being stated, we'll know if there's nobody opposed to this, we'll close the public hearing portion. Back to the board for any additional comments or questions.
I do
Mr.
have
Mueller,
one
you got anything you'd like to add?
I have one question. So it says customers and yourself to use, or the customer's going to be using it, or is it just going to be you and the employees?
Well, like, the gunsmith.
Mr. Corr, you'd have to come back
Come
up
back
to
up
the,
here.
Sorry.
Like, since we're gonna be retailing suppressors and barrels and gunsmithing weapons for people, it would also be for them to have the ability to go out and see if that's something that they would like. You know, if we have to adjust trigger pull, trigger tension, the gas blocks and stuff like that, so they can see if that's how they want it to be before they take the gun home with them. So it would be, I don't know, if they're a good shot, you know, like on sighting in the rifle, it won't be hundreds and hundreds of rounds being fired all at once, which that'll be regulated by us. And that's why I want to have this approved with you, you know, to give neighbors and like the Hutterites that are all around us, you know, the safety, you know, to know that we're trying to make it safe and right with them.
Any other questions from members of the board?
Mr. Chair, this is Luke. Did you have a question for me?
Do you have anything to contribute to this?
Yes, I do, and just thought I'd try to clarify the question that the applicant had about what the rules were on shooting there. Obviously, privately, you would have the ability to shoot, and for what it's worth, Luke Muller, First District Association of Governments. The reason for the shooting range permit is because of what he just referenced, is that if money's exchanging hands for really anything going on the property and then using the property to shoot by someone who exchanged money, there's where the need for the permit comes in. I will note that based on what the applicant's saying, he's really doing somewhat of a favor to guarantee that he's following the county's rules, specifically the NRA guidebook, in protecting the property. So he's really volunteering on the front end to take care of it so it doesn't become an issue on the back end.
Thank
That's
you,
all I've
Luke.
got.
That being said, is there any other questions or comments from members of the board? You can go back to your seat then there, Trenton. I guess with that being said, nothing more from the board. Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
yes. Conditional use 2026 CU 005, application for the conditional use have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission acting as the Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too, application being made by Trenton Corr regarding the following real property. The south half of the northeast 1/4 of Section 20, Township 112 North, Range 49 West, Argo Township, located at 19935 474th Avenue, White, South Dakota, 57276. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on this 5th day of May, 2026. Number one. Number two, Article 5, Chapter 5.34, Commercial Shooting Range. Number three, A, entrance and exits to the property, will use existing driveway off 474th Avenue, which is an Argo Township gravel road. B, no off-street parking and loading areas, no on-street parking allowed. C, utilities and refuge and service areas. Use burn barrel for refuse. Screening and buffering, berms and backstops to follow and meet the NRA range source book guidelines. E, signs, 32 square foot allowed, 32 square foot sign allowed, and any safety signs for shooting ranges. Required yards and other open spaces, none stated. G, general compatibility meets the comprehensive plan for the agricultural land use in the agricultural district. H, roads providing access to the property are adequate to meet the transportation's demands of the conditional use. 474th Avenue is an Argo Township gravel road. I, required notification of law enforcement of the fire department, none stated. J, additional safety inspections. Any inspections required for building permits and any inspections required for shooting range compliance. Number 4, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this conditional use permit upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. Number 1, federal firearms license approval required with a copy of the license to be on file with the County Development Office. Number 2, contingent on the approval of the home extended business for firearm and ammo sales, gunsmithing, and related gear, gun repair. Number 3, range to be used by the applicant and customers of the applicant's extended home business. Brookings County Board of Adjustment needs a majority approval of the members present to grant the petitioner a conditional use for the above described property as follows. Conditional use number 9, shooting range. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of facts are followed. So I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderwall. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Neil Troyan,
Yes.
Justin DeGroot,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Yes.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark, Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, and we'll send you the original copies here in the mail the next day for your records.
Moving on, agenda item 2026, CU 006. Marcus Kopecki has made an application, 2026 CU 006, to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit, excuse me, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01, A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.04, Conditional Uses Number 35, Agricultural Seed Sales, Seed Treatment, and Storage of Herbicide and Insecticide Sales and Storage with containers to not exceed 275 gallons. The property is described as the south 572 feet of the north 1,045 feet of the west 744 feet of the northwest one-fourth of Section 23, Township 110 North, Range 48W, Alton Township, located at 21114 482nd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota 57026. Is there a motion?
So move, Paulson.
Motion by Paulson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kyle Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 CU 006. Marcus Kopecki has applied for conditional use number 35, agricultural seed sales, seed treatment and storage, herbicide and insecticide sales and storage with the containers not to exceed 275 gallons. And the applicant will need to apply for a license from the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources for seed seed sales and treatment, and herbicide and insecticide sales in quantities of up to 275 gallons. The South Dakota Department of Agriculture does not require containment barriers for totes containing up to 275 gallons, and no EPA registration is required. He will sell the products from his residence located on 482nd Avenue, which is a Brookings County Blacktop Road, number 27. And he will remove some of the existing buildings and build a new warehouse with an office and outside bins to be used for the herbicide, seed, and insecticide storage. The seed treatment will be done inside the warehouse as the seed is sold and then delivered to the customer. Future plans are to add 3 to 5 outside bins with the seed treatment building within 5 years. The zoning office has reviewed the above documents and made a site visit to the proposed location. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the Elkton Record on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Brookings County Highway Department, and the Alton Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's the applicant's conditional use application. Site plan, driveway coming in. This is the existing, this is where it is right now, the existing house, Quonset barn. Future plans there, the barn would be removed, and this is where the office and the warehouse would be located, south of the driveway. Proposed business plan. Number of trucks bringing products in. Storage. Seed treatment, be to be a mobile seed treater for the first few years. You know, get the permanent one when he gets his bins in the building set up. This is the beacon map showing his rural resident acreage right here on 482nd Avenue. Just looking south from the driveway, going down 482nd, which is Brookings County number 27. Looking east into the driveway there. Just looking to the north, clear view. This would be the future site where the barn and silo is of his office and warehouse there. They would be. That's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant is here, would you please step forward and clearly state your name into the mic?
Hi, I'm Marcus Kopecki.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
Yeah, there's a few things. So, I think on the report or whatever I said pesticides. So one thing, fungicides were missing. You had herbicides and insecticides, so fungicides should be added. The other thing, I don't like talking that, but I do have my chemical dealer license already through the South Dakota or SDDNA or whatever. I can provide that at any time, and I also have my license to seed treatment or to treat seed already.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the board at this time? Seeing none, you can go back to your seat for a minute. Seeing no comments or questions from members of the board, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Is there anybody, seeing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board at this time? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, conditional use 2026, CU 006, application for conditional use have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Marcus Kopecki regarding the following real property: the south 572 feet, of the north 1,045 feet, of the west 744 feet, of the northwest 1/4 of Section 23, Township 110 North, Range 48 West, Alton Township, located at 21114 482nd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on this 5th day of May, 2026. Number 1, Brookings County zoning conditional use number 35, as it states. Number 2, comply with South Dakota codified laws SDCL 38-12A, agricultural seed sales, and South Dakota codified law 38-21-33.4 for herbicide insecticide sales, which also cover your fungicides. Brookings County, number 3, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made. The following were applicable. Number 3, A, entrance and exits to the property. Will use the existing driveway off 482nd Avenue, which is Brookings County Blacktop Road, number 27. B, off-street parking and loading areas. No on-street parking allowed and use only on-site parking. C, utilities and refuge and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. You use a dumpster service now, correct? Okay. Use a dumpster service for garbage. D, screening and buffering, none stated. E, signs, if any, proposed, if any. 32 square foot sign allowed, or any required regulatory and safety signs for seed, herbicide, pesticide sales. Fungicides. See if thank goodness for spell check. F, required yards and other open spaces, none stated. G, general compatibility, comprehensive plan requirements met for the agricultural district. Number 4, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions its conditional use upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. Follow the South Dakota Department of Agriculture requirements for licensing and the South Dakota codified laws as stated above for seed, herbicide, fungicide, and insecticide sales. Brookings County Board of Adjustment by at least 2/3 vote, well, majority vote of the members present here. Hereby grants the above petitioner a conditional use permit for the above described real property as follows: agricultural sales, treatment, seed, and storage, twine and net wrap sales, herbicide, we'll add fungicide in there, and insecticide sales with individual storage containers not to exceed 275 gallons. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that the application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings and the facts are followed, so I concur with the findings and the facts.
Thank you, Mr. Troy. And that being said, Richard, would you call the vote?
Justin D. Groot,
Aye.
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark. Nope. Daryl Storhog, excuse me. Daryl Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Joinby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
And Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2026, variance 006. Daniel Hildebrand has made an application 2026, variance 006 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.03, LP Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03, Density, Area, and Yard Regulation. The property is described as the west half of Lot 21 and the west half of Lot 21A. All of the lots 22 and 22A, Kamara Beach Edition, and government lots 1, 2, and 3 of Section 15, Township 112 North, Range 47W, Lake Hendricks Township, located at 113 North Lake Hendricks Drive, Hendricks, Minnesota, 56136, also known as 113 North Lake Hendricks Drive, Grand Prairie Township, South Dakota 56136. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second? Second. Second by Cody Clark. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2026 variant 006. Daniel Hildebrand has applied for variance to build a 30 by 50, which is 1,500 square feet with a 12-foot sidewall, accessory building to be 5 feet from the rear lot line and 15 feet from the road, a rear variance of 20 feet, and a front yard variance of 10 feet. The non-lakefront setbacks are 25 feet from the rear and 25 feet from the road, and he will meet the side yard setback of 8 feet. Things to consider are the shape and the size of the lot, and Kamara Beach was platted on June 1975 prior to the Lake Park zoning ordinance requirements. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the White Tri-City Star on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners and the Lake Hendricks Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's the applicant's variance application. Here's his site plan. This is his house here. This is Lake Hendricks Drive. Proposed site plan, 15 feet from the road, 5 feet from the rear lot line, 10 feet off the side lot lines, exceeding the 8-foot requirement. So here's the property on the beacon map. This is where the proposed accessory building will go. There's just some pictures looking at the wheel is at, looking from the road, looking towards the north, wheel is at 15 feet. Here the wheel is looking towards the east, wheel is at 15 feet from the road. That is looking east, this is looking towards the west. Right there, the wheel is at 15 feet from the road. This is on the north side, looking towards the east, I believe. If I remember right, yeah, and this would be looking west, yep. This is there's a wheel down there on the west side, 5 feet. Roughly, it's 5 feet from that north property line. And this is looking on the east edge, looking north where the proposed site would go. That's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening, so.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would please step forward and clearly state your name into the mic.
Dan Hildebrandt?
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
No, sir.
Just since I seen it in the pictures there, are you basically trying to line up with the red shed 2 lots down from you?
Most of the sheds along that North Lake Hendricks Drive, which there's 19 residents, and I'd say 80% of them have garages that will be lined up with what I'm trying to do.
You can see it pretty simple right there, so. Is there any other questions from members of the board at this time? You can go back to your chair. That being said, I'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board?
Where is the door gonna be to this building?
Gonna face the south.
Right onto the road? So when you back out of the building, you'll be right in the road.
The building's gonna be 15 foot off the road, but we will back off into that small area, then it gives us enough room to turn into the road.
So most vehicles are about 20 feet, so by the time you clear your building, you're in the roadway.
The door will also line up, or the driveway will line up with the present driveway of the house as well. So there's another 25 foot there if we needed to use it, but I don't think.
How are the rest of the,
The rest of the garages along their garage doors open up towards the south, towards the road.
so they're all like that?
They're all like that.
Any other comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, Brookings County zoning variance 2026-006, application for a variance have been filed by the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Daniel Hildebrandt regarding the following real property. The west half of Lot 21 and the west half of Lot 21A, all of Lots 22 and 22A, Camara Beach Addition, and government lots 1, 2, and 3 of Section 15, 112 North, Range 47 West, Lake Hendricks Township, located at 113 North Lake Hendricks Drive, Hendricks, Minnesota, and/or Grand Prairie Township, South Dakota. After due notice of public hearing having been held on the application on this 5th day of May, 2026, number 1, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that the strict application of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, that such hardship is not shared generally by other properties in the same district, in the same vicinity, and that the authorization of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property and the character of the district cannot be changed by the granting of the variance. That the granting of such variance is based upon reasons of demonstrable and exceptional hardship or distinguished by variations for the purpose of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the condition or situation of the property concerned or the intended use of the property is not so general or recurring of a nature as to make reasonable, practicable, the formulation of a general requirement to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances which are peculiar to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district, and that literal interpretations of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of the ordinance. That the special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, that the granting of the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance and that the variance is a minimum variance that will make possible and reasonable the use of the land, building, or structure. That the granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number 5, Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions and safeguards. A, shape and size of lot. B, Camara Beach Addition was platted in 1975 prior to current Lake Park ordinance setback requirements. Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 30-foot by 50-foot, which is 1,500 square feet, with a 12-foot sidewall accessory building, 5 feet from the rear lot line and 15 feet from the road. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. This variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted. It shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Tim Paulson.
Aye.
Cody Clark.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Joinby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
Justin D. Groot.
Aye.
And Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, and we'll send you these the copies in the mail to you. You can come and get your building permit at any time.
Moving on, agenda item 2026, variance 007. Martin Davis has made application 2026, variance 007 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for variance Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.05, Area Regulations / Easements. The property is described as the northeast 1/4 of Section 14, Township 110 North, Range 48W, Alton Township, located at 21007 483rd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota, 57026. Is there a motion?
So move, Paulson.
Motion by Paulson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Clark. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes. 2026 variance 007, Martin Davis has applied for a front yard variance to build a 30-foot by 40-foot house with a 28 by 38 attached garage, 105 feet from the center of 483rd Avenue, which is also known as Brookings County Gravel Road, number 34, a variance of 45 feet. The required setback is 150 feet from the center of the road. The applicant's property is on a corner lot and has 2 front yard setbacks. And he will meet the setback from 210th Street, which is an Alton Township gravel road, to the north. The original house was built in 1912 prior to zoning setbacks and was 117 feet from the center of 483rd Avenue, which is also known as Brookings County Gravel Road number 34, and has been removed and the site leveled and prepared for the new home, for the new proposed home. The applicant would like to keep the proposed residence out of falling distance from the west trees and away from the detached garage for safety purposes. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on April 21st and 28th, 2026, and the Volga Tribune on April 23rd and 30th, 2026. And letters were sent to the Brookings County Highway Department, the adjoining landowners, and the Alton Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's the applicant's variance application. There's a site plan. 483rd Avenue driveway, proposed distance, the house, 100 from the corner of the garage. There's a tree right there. Existing garage with an electrical pedestal there, existing trees he would like to keep. Other outbuildings along the way. There's his floor plan. Proposed elevations of the north side. This would be the south side facing the south. Road would be over here on the right-hand side. This would be the west end, and this would be the east end. Just the proposed house on the beacon map from 483rd Avenue. The red is the proposed 105 from the center of the road to the corner of the garage. The yellow is the 150-foot setback, the required setbacks. You can see just the distance comparison there. There's a beacon map showing the existing house where this was. The tree there, this is where the existing garage that he wants to like to stay away from. Electrical pedestal is right here at the corner of the corner of the garage. Some pictures. Just looking south down 483rd, which is also Brookings County number 34 from the driveway. Just looking west towards into the farmyard where the proposed proposed site would be located. This is looking towards the north from the driveway. This is the wheel at 105 feet from the center of 483rd Avenue. This is looking west towards the yard and the proposed site. This is looking towards the north. This is at the wheel would be at 150-foot setback from 483rd Avenue, right there looking towards the north. And this would be where the west edge of the house would be back over where the gravel area is, back there behind the pickup and trailer, where the proposed setback would be back there, where it would be if it was at 150 feet. This is the proposed garage that he would like to stay away from, and the electrical pedestal and meter right there. This would be looking towards the northwest. These are the trees that he would like to stay away from so they don't have the potential to fall on the proposed residence. This is just looking towards the northeast, the proposed area of the house. And this is just looking back towards the northwest from the driveway towards the proposed residence. So that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. Since the applicant's here, would you please come forward and clearly state your names into the mic?
Martin Davis.
Tom Davis.
Do you have anything to add to Richard's report at this time?
I would like to point out that the existing shop to the south has a setback of 110 feet. I don't believe there was a variance given for that when it was built.
Yeah, that was built in 1990, and I guess my dad didn't get a variance. I didn't know that until Richard stopped out for that. We have planted 3 rows of trees already where we tore them out next to the county road and around and behind the back of the proposed new house, so that if the ash borer comes and we have to tear the trees out, then we can meet the zoning requirements of how far trees have to be off the road, because on the north side the trees are right up to the edge of the ditch, and that intersection it is a blind intersection on that corner to the north there where 210 and 483 come together, and it's like any other intersection. Hardly anybody ever stops there. And we did get a variance to that machine shed that's on the east side of the road and then up in the upper right-hand corner of the photo so that, you know, that machine shed didn't block the intersection way back in, I think that was in 1999, I think. And I'm the landowner. I bought the land from out of my mother's estate. And he's building the house, and I've gotten a release from the Farm Credit Services to release that 20 acres around the building site so that he can finance the house. And in my will, the entire quarter goes to him. So that's just, I guess that's about what I got, I guess.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the boards at this time?
What was the setback of the house that was there? 117 feet?
Yes.
I guess I was just trying to get more distance between the house and the garage because it was too close, you know, if there was ever a fire in that garage, and it's got old wiring in it and everything.
Okay.
I just got a question, might not be for, you can answer, but the garage is basically gonna be the closer part to the road, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not really livable space. You know, it's gonna be really close there. It looks like where your livable space is.
There's
where
with the new trees, there's approximately going to be 6 rows of trees between the, you might say, the right of way or where a fence line would be and the edge of the house.
I think we'd only end up with 3. We planted 2.
Yeah, but there's 3 existing rows there. Oh, I mean, it's a hodgepodge of trees that have grown up and volunteer, but there's the distance there, and then the first row of trees that would be east of the garage is a row of lilacs that we planted here 2 weeks ago by the Conservation District.
Are there any other questions from members of the board at this time?
I see that the house is at an angle. You know, I'm sure you have a reasoning why you want to do it that way, but if you had put it square and slide it over, we could get to that, you know, greater setback. But I just want to hear why you would want it at an angle like that.
If you can, the top right picture of where you were there, you can see the base of a very nice maple tree, and I'd like to keep that in the front yard. It's been there for forever, and it's a beautiful tree. I would just like to keep that in the front yard, I guess, is my main reasoning for the angle. There will be a covered porch on the south side of the house. That's kind of where you get the L shape. So the true footprint would be 68 by 38 with the covered porch included. Yeah, you can kind of see that nice maple tree. It's the one to the left. We removed that one that the cursor is on currently.
Oh, right here. Okay.
That one, yep.
Gotcha.
And that angle on the drawing might be a little steep, I guess, just looking at it from my perspective.
Are there any other questions from members of the board?
I guess I'm struggling to see where the hardship is on this. There's quite a bit of room. I get you want to keep the trees, but you got a lot of trees to the north and west.
Yeah, I guess my main purpose is to try and avoid removing that maple tree. If we do move it, the driveway would be essentially right in the middle of it, I guess, is kind of my concern, and I would like to keep that tree to provide shade from the south side.
I would say that the angle of the drawing is way sharper than what is normally, what we have planned.
See, from my standpoint, that house is gonna outlive that tree by at least 75, possibly 100 years, who knows? That house is gonna be there a lot longer than that old maple tree.
My guess is in about 5 years, you're gonna wish that maple tree was gone when all them little suckers around it start growing up.
Well, it's not actually a maple tree. I'm not sure what kind of a tree it is because it, but I think if you go back to that picture where that trailer, that gooseneck trailer is, the east side of that, the wheels on that trailer are actually parked on the gravel of where the house is.
So just, the old house that sat there before was
14 years old.
No, it was 112 feet off the road right away?
117, I believe.
Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
With the garage, what's the living space off the road?
You would get awful close to the 150-foot setback. The garage is 28 feet wide. So you'd be at 105 and 28, you'd get to 130 something. And again, the shop to the south is at 110. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's not a great reason, but it's pre-existing.
Are there any other questions from the board at this time? Not hearing any at the moment, I'll jump to the public hearing portion quick. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Move back to the board for additional comments or questions. Luke, do you have anything to contribute to this?
My statements will be similar to what I've said in the past, which is you've got to find a hardship that is unique to the property, that is not based on things that the applicant can control. And so a lot of the points that have been made, I guess I'd double down and look kind of the same way, that these are things that aren't necessarily unique to this property that you wouldn't ask someone else to do or take care of.
Okay, thank you. Any other additional comments or questions from members of the board?
Richard, can you go back to that overhead, the beacon picture with the two houses on it?
That angle was, he just took, I sent him his site plan, so that's kind of what he used. Like nothing, even on Beacon, nothing is to scale, it just gives you a general idea where it is, so. But the setback distances are, from the center of the road, that's 105, and from the center of the road, that right there is 150 to the yellow and to the red, so.
Well, and looking at that picture there, the shop on the bottom is 105. So if you look at where the red is, to me, well, now that you scrolled it up, it doesn't look farther over. When it was down, the red looked farther over when it was down. But
And why my dad never came and got a building permit or a variance, I have no idea.
Are you gonna come in and apply for an after-the-fact variance?
I don't think he even did that. I don't know whether the history might show, but I have no idea.
Are most of the trees on the north side of this house already removed from this picture? Are the trees removed?
There's still about, I would say, close to 150 feet of trees there.
You've cleared out a lot of them. Looking at the other pictures, looks like a lot of them have been cleared out of there. You've got a lot of room to the north
Yeah, we planted 3 rows of trees
inside the.
inside and then left enough room to do, have a backyard and build the house.
Yeah, the trees along the building site would be considered landscaping, so they could be, up to 25 feet from the right-of-way line. And so these would not, the trees around the building site right there would not need to meet the shelter belt requirements for the setback. That would be considered landscaping around there.
And the trees on the north are getting old, and, there's that huge threat of the ash borer coming, so we took the opportunity to go in there and plant 3 rows of trees and still have a windbreak if that day comes.
So is that kind of your plan when those trees get developed? Take the ones close to the road down?
Yeah, we would like to remove them and then make that intersection a lot more friendly.
Because like I said, you can sit there all day and nobody stops at that intersection.
Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, then, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, variance application 2026, variant 007, application having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached hereto. Application being made by Martin Davis regarding the following real property. The northeast 1/4 of Section 14, Township 110 North, Range 48 West, Alton Township, located at 21007 483rd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota, 57026. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on this 5th day of May, 2026. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, preserve the location for existing trees to be out of falling distance onto the proposed new residence. B, keep the proposed residence away from the detached garage and electrical utilities located at the south end of the garage. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership present, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Build a 30 by 40 house with a 28 by 38 attached garage, 105 feet from the center of 483rd Avenue, also known as Brookings County number 34. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue and required building permits for constructions consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 5th day of May, 2026.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Tim Paulson.
Aye.
Cody Clark.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn,
No.
Kyle Vanderwall,
No.
Mark Jornby,
Yes.
Neil Troyan,
Yes.
Justin DeGroot,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-2. Thank you. We'll send you your copies in the mail.
Thank you.
Get your document whenever you're ready.
Moving on, department reports.
Yes, sir. We realized we got some rain in the last week. The county commission's gonna look at the burn ban at the next county commission meeting. We're getting fire chiefs in parts of the county that wants it lifted. And we were just, depends on how dry it gets and how fast, I presume, but just be aware of that. If you do have something that needs to burn, I would recommend you contact non-emergency 911 number 692-2113 and have them help you get in touch with your local fire department. And there are some areas in the county that could probably burn with the permission of the fire chief, but right now the burn ban's still in full effect. And the last thing I got is plantings in full production, so be careful because you got all the city people that don't understand big farm tractors and stuff like that, so. And that's all I got. Richard, you have anything?
Yep. Since last meeting, we've been kind of busy. Busy getting all these reports done and going out and visits, but we've issued 22 building permits since their April 7th meeting, and as of right now, the agenda looks kind of light for the June meeting, but there may be a possibility of a joint Board of Adjustment meeting. That would be just for the 3 or 4 members of this board that are on that, so stay tuned. We'll keep you informed if that comes through, so. Otherwise, outside of that, that's all that I have.
Luke, do you have anything to provide?
I do not. Have a good night.
That's it, Chairman.
Thank you, Luke. No need for an executive session.
No,
so
sir.
We should be good to go there. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall. Is there a second? Second by Cody Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.